Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. I know we're having a wonderful Merry Christmas and we're actually very close to the New Year too, which is surprising. Now, today we're gonna actually discuss an OG, which I happens to come across since, well, I haven't watched this one in a while, so I had to rewatch it recently because I really wanted to give some key details about this sauce, let's just say. So the name of this show is Residence. Yes, we're gonna get right into this bitch because trust me, it's a very thrilling slash horror type of shit, right? Because it all entails about this little girl who used to live in the 1800s. Yes, I saying it like that because that's how it goes and that's how it's gonna be. So just ride along with me on this one. So yeah, so without further ado, let me just give you guys a little review on the story of how this went, right? And I'm gonna add the clip, of course. And this is a 3-for-1 special because this is definitely, I would have done this back in Halloween as a Halloween edition, but it wasn't as scary as it is because it was more like suspense and a little bit of thrill in between, but it wasn't nowhere near scary. But anyways, without further ado, let's get to our first exhibit. The hunter becomes the hunted. Alright, so on our first episode, it all starts with a little bit of a story here with this haunted mansion, and it was abandoned since the 1800s, right? So we see these two dudes. Well, they happen to be locals and they were looking for like priceless shit, like treasures and shit, right? And they all talking about how they're so willing to find this thing, and they were looking to like what appears to be a diamond, or like a ruby stone, right? That contains a lot of money in it, right? And they start like, well, listen, once we find this shit, we're gonna be rich as hell. We're gonna get all the bitches and shit, right? And homie with this thirsty motherfucker is like, yeah, I can't wait to get my sucked. And they're all talking about this, right? And they heard like a little girl voice. Not gonna lie, it's like something out of The Ring. Because when I first saw this, I shit you not, I was like a bit nervous because of the fact that, one, where did you hear this voice from? Something straight out of Poltergeist or Grudge or some shit, right? What happens next is kind of unthinkable, right? So let me give a little story, a little context, and a little bit of attributes about this little creature, right? Well, this little girl. So apparently, she has the power to manifest whatever a person's thinking into reality. If you want to become a woman, she can do so just by your thoughts. In the first episode, she literally she literally reads his mind, big dude's head, and he's like, well, he thought about being a woman for like a split second, and she is like, oh, so I know what you're thinking, you want to be a woman, right? So said, so done. He became a she, and when the dude is like, hey, yo, bro, what happened to you? And he's like, well, I'm a prostitute, and he's like, and now she's like trying to read his mind too, and he's like, listen, I know you want to, might as well get that cookie. Well, that was a pickle. And he had no control over his body. It's like they're in her domain, literally. So they ended up doing it over and over and over. And now this is where we get to the real insane shit starts to happen. So we see this renowned hunter who happens to heard about the rumors about this whole powers and all of that, and he thinking it's an illusion, right? So we see homegirl with the maids, and again, she has the power to alter your reality. Basically, she can, whatever you're thinking, she will bring it into reality. If you want to become anything that you desire, she will make it come true. As he confronts her, he's like, listen, I know what you came for. And she even knows what he's coming for because she's been waiting for him from the window. And as he comes in, he's ready for battle and all of that. But then at the same time, he's like, okay, what is her end goal here? And by thinking that he can escape, let's just say he passes out. And when he passes out, he thought this was the bar he usually goes to. And as he wakes up, he can't feel himself. He literally feels like the bartender who used to serve him on a daily, and he became a she. Oh Lord, look at that. He was shook. He was like, damn, man, I know my name Bullet. I'm him. Nah, he ain't him no more. He is a she. So the next thing now, well, of course, I can't believe I'm saying this, but for those who love Futanari, yeah, there's that in between. And although unfortunately it's not sorry, it's not uncensored. Yes, there is a little bit of Futanari in the mix because apparently he just ended up going into like in a state of mind where he can't do anything about it, and she controls her, well, his every move, which is now her. I don't want to confuse you guys, so let's just go with the her. Yes, she controls her every movement, and then in the second scene of this bachittery, he is having like a foursome. He and three other bad bitches, right? And he's like questioning his mind, and he's thinking, damn, do I really miss being drilled? Because he starts to question his own sexuality, reality, and depravity. Bars, not gonna lie. But yeah, he starts to question his reality and his sexuality, right? And she's like, I know what you want to be. And each time he progresses, he's like, what am I missing here? Do I love drilling or do I love being drilled? And she's like, you are a woman. And she keeps on pounded, no pun intended. She keeps on drilling it into her head. And she's like, listen, are you a man or are you a woman? And each time he can't seem to answer straight because he's like, again, no pun intended on the straight part. But each time she asks him, are you a man or are you a woman? And as she's asking her this, she was already turning to a woman and getting drilled. Again, no pun intended. It turns into a point where she just gave up a straight answer. And then she asks her for a fourth time and final time. She asks, are you a man or are you a woman? And then she finally realized who she was. The person who she was before is no longer in the picture. He is now a full she. And she says, well, listen, I am a woman, and of course I am a woman. And she starts to go off. She went berserk on the three dudes that literally descended to the original forms, which is a female. Yeah, the same females that he was drilling earlier on. Yeah, they became just that after being dudes. And then the princess, of course, Princess Psycho, pulls out her wiener. Yes, she has a vagina. Yeah. Which is crazy. And yeah, they ended up doing it. And then at the end of it, I literally named the episode The Hunter Became the Hunted. Now, this is the final episode. We're getting to go back to the 1800s. Back when this little girl was alive. She was seeing this fairy. Because mind you, her dad was a rich mafka. And his wife, well, the mom passed away a few years prior due to some disease or some shit, right? Little does she know that he's having an affair with the maids, right? He's sleeping with one of the maids. And then she's like, she witnessed this. The little daughter witnessed the maid getting pounded. And she runs straight to her African room and talks to like this fairy looking, grim looking Mafka. And this is where we see the catalyst of all the bullshit. So this thing was the catalyst of all the bullshit and what made her powers become a reality. And she starts to like talk to it and starts to like bond with it to the point where the thing asks her, would you like to become powerful? And she says yes, anything to help her dad, right? Like to give her some attention. And then we see this mere transformation where the daughter and the dad are talking, and he's like, well, listen, I'm gonna go. And the daughter is like, well, listen, enough about me. Just tell me a bedtime story before I go to sleep. So as he's telling her about the story about how great the mother was, how caring she was when she was a baby, because she didn't know the time, right? So now she asks her, well, hey dad, how would you like to see mom again? And he's like, oh, I would love to see your mother again one day. So she's like, well, fuck that. I'm gonna turn into the mama. And this is where everything goes downhill faster than a wagon full of fat kids. And as she transforms, she literally became the mom in the flesh. And he was like controlled by this illusion. And he started to do everything, sucking the toes. For all my toe loving freaks, well, I'm not really much of a toe sucking person. No, that's not my cup of tea. But if you guys love this kind of shit, this is the show for you. At the ending of the scene, we see that she's literally sucking the life force out of him, literally, vigorously, and figuratively, to the point where she starts choking the nigga to death. And while she's choking him, she literally kept riding him until the end of the show. And he was literally, his life force was sucked away to the point where he became stuck into the ruby stone, where she can keep all the memories of her loved ones and the ones that she knows. It's crazy. And after, well, we got the hunter bullet, gone from a bullet to Barrett. She's like, well, listen, I'm just gonna be a chevalier, according to her. And yeah, that was the end of this shit. Now, at the ending of it, apparently there was a pastor who came to exorcise the demon. Barrett stops him in his tracks and she tells him, well, listen, I know this dude because I used to go to the church. The ghost or demon tells her, well, listen, I had to give you my praise because you actually know this dude. So the pastor is like, well, listen, I want to exorcise y'all because y'all are demons. And she's like, well, listen, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not going to kill you. I just want one thing. I just want you to play with me. And he is in shambles. He's scared shitless. And at the end of it all, that's pretty much it. Oh, wow. I don't know what to say. This was probably one of my longest recordings I've ever done in a while. And again, this show was hella great. The animation went wild. I'm not gonna lie. It went buck wild on the animation. The storyline was perfect. The plot twist was amazing. I enjoyed every second of it. Now, I know you guys don't really seem too into, like, I would say lollies or into these kind of stories, but trust me, these are the kind of stories I would like to see. And trust me, I'm just kind of upset they didn't extend this, because even at the ending of the third episode, I was like, where does this go and when does it end? And the fact that it ended on episode 3, it's amazing. And they had the same animation from, I believe it was Dirty Laundry and some other show I'll probably watch. But yeah, guys, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think. And tell me what I missed, because I am really interested to know what you guys think about this. This was actually one of my favorites, one of my go-tos, when at the point in time there was nothing, it was in a drought. No new content, nothing new was coming out. I was actually planning to release this in Halloween, but I guess it wasn't as scary as I thought it was. So that's why I didn't really release it. Although I am planning on doing one probably like next week or probably this weekend, depending. I might do a Christmas version because I've been watching some new content recently, which is hella great, and I can't wait to see the new one that's coming out in January 19th. Yes, they released the date as to when they're gonna do the first episode. It's about basically just the teachers and the students. Yeah, basically it. So anyways, guys, tell me what you think. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already. DM me on Instagram if you guys have any recommendations, or comment down in the section down below. So have a good one, and peace out, and Merry Christmas.